today I want to talk about the myth of satisfaction around doing something for yourself. This weekend, I was under my sink trying to replace the faucet and cut myself multiple times. Not once, not twice, but 3 different times in kind of precarious spots. One right over my finger, so every time I reach for something, I'm knocking it, and 2 other spots right in the creases of my hands. So I'm always like opening these wounds, and it was really... At the end of this project, I spent all night one night working on this sink, and essentially all you're doing is you're underneath your sink at this weird angle, unscrewing everything from the bottom, pulling all the pipes out, not the pipes, but the water lines out, and you're pulling those off and you're replacing them with the new stuff. And you're just screwing everything back in, and it's a very simple process, but it's not very easy, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And the project seems so small, so minor, that I didn't really want to have somebody out to fix it. And I actually had just completed a project in my kitchen where I pulled I put in a new faucet in there. So it was something that I kind of knew I could do, and I just didn't really want to do it, and I had been putting it off for a while. The point that I want to get to today is kind of that you're going to find a lot of satisfaction in doing something on your own, and I definitely want to challenge that with this example, because I finished this sink. It took me way longer than I thought it was going to. Even if it had only taken me an hour that I thought it was going to take me, I don't think I would have been any more satisfied than if I had somebody come over and do it for me. Because the satisfaction that I was feeling around this project being completed was the fact that my sink wasn't broken anymore. And it had been broken for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. The left handle with the hot water didn't work anymore. Once you turn the water on, you couldn't turn it off. So we never used that side. And the right side, the cold side, had begun to rust. And so the handle was really sticky, and it was like bleeding onto the countertop and staining the countertop. It was this thing that I knew I needed to do, but I just felt like I never really had enough time. And so I finally got around to doing it. And yes, I was satisfied, but I don't know if I was the reason that I was satisfied. I didn't really care who had done that job. And I think this is something that I run into in my work. I think there's an expectation that you have to do it all. You have to be a jack of all trades. That's kind of what you have to do your entire life, depending on who you are. But I feel like I was doing that in high school. I was doing that throughout college. I've done that at all my jobs. I'm not just doing whatever the job is on paper. I'm going above and beyond, trying to figure things out, which I guess, is a good work ethic, is a good thing to have. But, I think there's a myth that surrounds the things that we do. Oh, save a couple bucks and do these things and do it yourself. And maybe you're kind of the person that likes to do things yourself. I'm not going to fault anybody that wants to do that. There was something that was almost unsatisfying about wasting my time in this way. And I really did feel like I was wasting my time because I'm not a plumber. I have no plans to be a plumber. I had to figure out, okay, this goes over here and this is leaking on me, and why isn't this turning off? And it was a total pain. It was very uncomfortable being under there at this angle. The cabinet that's under my sink isn't level to the ground. There's a step. And so I was kind of arching my back the whole time I was under there, and it's all dirty and gross from chemicals and stuff being down there. It was not a pleasant experience. I was sweating. All of that did not outweigh the project being completed. And I really wonder about the times that I do this in my own job, where I'm like, oh man, I got to do my own accounting and bookkeeping. I got to do my own advertising. I got to do my own research. I have to do all these things, my own proposals, my own, talking to clients, all of these things. I'm like, oh man, I got to do these things. And, ultimately right now, if I'm being honest right now, it's out of necessity. I can't afford to pay somebody else to do these things or to have a service that does a lot of those things. But it is really frustrating. It was really eye-opening to kind of walk into this thing that I've been dealing with in my business in this other example in my life. So I think that the moral of the story is like, it's a kind of overrated to do things yourself. Obviously, it depends on the thing that you're doing, but I think I'm on the side of hiring experts to do what they're good at so that my life can be a little easier. I have no problem with that. I hope you are having a good week. I certainly am living large after last week.